Hello everyone, Xeno What If here. To bring in the movie of What If Lupin transported to Reach and became a Spartan. Reach arc. Part 0. Location, somewhere in the Italian Alps, 2010. Time, midnight. Howling wind slithers through a narrow limestone cavern, carrying the scent of cold stone and ancient dust. Two flickering lanterns illuminate carved symbols on the walls, glyphs that predate recorded history. Of course, none of this scares the man in the green jacket and red shirt, who whistles casually as he descends the rope. Lupin 3, the world's greatest master thief, lands lightly on his feet and sweeps his flashlight across the hollow chamber. Lupin, smirking, man, no guards, no lasers, no traps. Almost feels insulting. Did no one want to give me a challenge tonight? He approaches a raised stone platform. Resting at its center is the object of tonight's heist. A triad of metallic artifacts, fused together like a locked puzzle box. Bronze plating, engraved runes, and a faint inner glow give it an almost supernatural presence. Lupin cracks his knuckles. Lupin, alright baby, let's see if you're worth all the plane tickets and bribes. He touches the first plate. It pulses. He touches the second. It hums. He touches the third, and all three blaze with blinding golden light. Lupin, oh, that's never good. A violent gravitational force slams into him. The cavern shakes. His goggles shatter. Pebbles rise into the air as if gravity itself is panicking. The triad splits open like a flower made of metal, revealing a swirling singularity. Lupin, okay, note to self, stop touching ancient glowy things. The vortex surges. Lupin is yanked into the tear in space-time, screaming and flailing comically as the cavern implodes behind him. And then, darkness. Year 2543. Planet, Reach. Region, New Alexandria Wilderness Zone. Several months before the Covenant invasion. A portal tears open above a fast-moving river, spitting out one very unfortunate thief. Splash. Lupin crashes into the icy current and is dragged several meters before slamming into a protruding rock. Lupin, gasping, ow. Okay, that's a concussion waiting to happen. He flops onto the riverbank, drenched and miserable. Birds chirp overhead, strange birds, with wing structures he doesn't recognize. The trees are taller, thicker, and unlike any species he's studied during past escapes from Interpol. He groans, rolling onto his back. His jacket is half torn, his gadgets soaked. His grappling gun sparks pitifully. Lupin, where in the seven hells am I? This isn't Italy. This isn't Europe. Heck, this isn't even Earth, is it? He sits up slowly. In the distance, past the forest, he sees it. The gleaming skyline of New Alexandria, skyscrapers of polished alloy and glass, elevated tram rails stretching between them like spiderwebs. Massive aerial vehicles pass overhead, sleek, angular troop carriers with the emblem of the United Nations Space Command UNSC stenciled onto their hulls. Lupin's jaw drops. Lupin, spaceships, military dropships, giant city that looks like Tokyo got drunk with NASA. He rubs his eyes. Lupin, okay, either Zenigata finally drugged me and dumped me in some high-budget simulation. Or I am very far from home. A distant rumble echoes across the valley, thunder. Aircraft. Something else. He tries to stand and immediately stumbles, head still spinning from the impact. When he steadies himself, he checks his belongings. Lockpick set, intact. Walther pistol, waterlogged. Grapple hook MKIV, sparking. Lupin brand decoder, cracked screen. Cigarettes, soaked. Lupin sighs dramatically. Lupin, oh come on. Not the cigarettes too. Before he can complain further, his vision blurs. He staggers. The concussion finally catches up to him. Lupin, okay, nap time it is. He collapses against a tree, unconscious, completely unaware that a group of UNSC recon troopers are already moving through the forest, scanning anomalies detected minutes earlier. Their visors sweep the area. Soldier 1, radio command, we found some kind of temporal energy residue. Possibly Forerunner tech, sending coordinates. Soldier 2, noticing Lupin, got a civilian here, strange outfit, might be a colonist. He's alive. Soldier 1, bag him. Bring him in. Oni will want to know what he is and where he came from. As Lupin sleeps, blissfully unaware, he is lifted onto a stretcher. And thus begins the story of how Arsène Lupin III, gentleman thief, ends up on the path toward becoming something no one, not even him, could have ever predicted. UNSC Forward Operating Base, New Alexandria Outskirts. The sound of boots on metal flooring echoes as Lupin is hauled through sterile white corridors. Fluorescent lights flicker above. Medical personnel move efficiently, prepping scanners and IV drips. A soldier with a cybernetic eye adjusts his helmet comm. Soldier 2, grunting, kid's lighter than he looks. You think Ona's gonna toss him in a cell or just erase him after interrogation? Soldier 1, dryly, depends. Does he scream, "Any spy," or "Drunken idiot who fell out of a pelican"? Lupin's fingers twitch. His nose wrinkles at the antiseptic smell. Groaning, he cracks one eye open, just in time to see a syringe the size of his forearm being prepped. Lupin, muffled, "No thanks, doc. I prefer my drugs recreational, ack." He jerks upright, dodging the needle by inches. The medic sighs. Behind him, the door hisses open, revealing a woman in olive green Oni fatigues, her insignia gleaming. Cold eyes scan Lupin like he's a lab specimen. Oni officer, crossing arms, subject conscious. Good. Saves us the trouble of reviving him. Lupin, grinning, despite the headache, ah. A beautiful woman. My luck's turning. So, kidnapping, huh? You guys charge extra for the scenic tour. The officer doesn't blink. She tosses a data pad onto the bed. It displays a blurred image, the triad artifact, mid-portal activation. Oni officer, this. Explain it. Now. Lupin, whistling, oh, that old thing. Looked shiny, I poked it, and bam, woke up in your lovely river. Seriously, what is this place? Some kinda military-themed amusement park. A soldier snorts. The officer's glare silences him. She leans in, voice a knife's edge. Soldier 2, interrupting, suspicious, sir, he could be an insurrectionist. Trying to pass as some naive idiot. Oni officer, flashing a predatory smile, don't worry. I can sniff out a liar from a light year away. This one, too charming, too clueless. Lupin, still woozy, squawks indignantly. Lupin, faux offended, that's a low blow, officer. I happen to be the very picture of innocent. Oni officer, snorting, sarcastic, right. Just stumbled across a piece of advanced alien tech and got transported halfway across the galaxy. Sure, that's an everyday occurrence. She turns to the medics. Oni officer, authoritatively, full medical. Blood work, scans, everything. And keep his hands cuffed. Last thing we need is him touching some random Forerunner relic. Lupin pouts as the medics tighten the cuffs on his wrists. Lupin, grumbling, and here I thought my worst night was having to outwit Interpol. A medic pushes him back onto the bed. A scanner passes over him, projecting 3D images of his bones and organs above the bed, all clean. Lupin looks up at them, fascinated despite himself. Medic 1, shaking her head, weird, everything's normal. Blood pressure, vitals, even his brain waves, no signs of alien tampering. He's human, alright. Just not one that shows up on any of our databases. Oni officer, skeptical, no dental records, no DNA matches, I ran his prints twice. Nothing. Either your little thief here is a blank slate, or he's from some backwater planet we haven't found yet. Lupin's eyes widened. No records. Not even in Interpol's massive archive. That's a first. Oni officer counted, and considering his clothes, he's either homeless or escaped from a cosplay convention. Lupin bristles. Cosplay. This is a perfectly stylish outfit, thank you very much. Soldier 2, chuckling, maybe he's some kind of actor. He's got the dramatic flair for it. Oni officer counted, and considering his clothes, he's either homeless or escaped from a cosplay convention. Lupin bristles. Cosplay. This is a perfectly stylish outfit, thank you very much. Soldier 2, chuckling, maybe he's some kind of actor. He's got the dramatic flair for it. Lupin, mockingly overdramatic, ah. Yes, because my life is just one endless stage production. He poses, his hands still cuffed together, and does a dramatic bow. The soldiers snort, suppressing laughter. Even the Oni officer cracks a tiny smile. Oni officer, smirked, you've got spunk, I'll give you that. Most prisoners start whining or cursing at this point. But you're just sassing your way through abduction. I almost respect it. Lupin, grinning wider, testing his cuffs subtly, spunk. Sass. Officer, I think you're starting to like me. Should I be flattered or worried? He gives an exaggerated wink. The Oni officer rolls her eyes, but doesn't deny it. Meanwhile, Soldier 2 mutters into his comms. Soldier 2 whispering, what exactly should we do with him or the anomaly? Oni officer smirked, well, here's what we're going to do, we can actually give you two options. Oni officer leaning against the scanner console, folding her arms. Option 1. You cooperate. Full debrief on where you came from, how you found that artifact, and why your biometrics don't match any known colonial records. In exchange, a very comfortable Oni holding cell with 3 meals a day. Lupin tilts his head, skeptical. Lupin dryly, the classic, luxury prison, pitch. What's option 2? The airlock. Oni officer grinning, shark-like, option 2, we toss you into the Spartan 2 candidate pool. Silence. The soldiers freeze. One medic drops a syringe. Lupin, blinking. Come again. The officer taps her datapad. A hologram flares to life, footage of armored giants moving in perfect sync, flipping tanks like toys, snapping elite necks barehanded. Oni officer, super soldier program. Augmentations, neural implants, the works. You're scrappy, adaptable, and apparently impossible to kill. Either you wash out and get reassigned as a janitor, or you become humanity's next best hope against the Covenant. Lupin stares at the hologram, then bursts out laughing. Lupin, wheezing, oh ho ho. Me, a soldier. Lady, I steal jewels for fun. The only training I've got is dodging Zenigata's handcuffs. The Oni officer shrugs. Oni officer, then I guess you'll die screaming when the Covenant glass this planet. Your choice. The hologram shifts, showing Covenant cruisers reducing cities to molten craters. Lupin's grin fades. Lupin, muttering, okay, yikes. You guys really don't do subtle threats, huh? He exhales, rolling his shoulders against the cuffs, then flashes a reckless grin. Oni officer raising an eyebrow, and Lupin grinning, and one favor from you. No questions asked. Oni officer after a beat, smirking, deal. But try stealing anything classified, and I'll personally feed you to the nearest brute. Lupin winks. Lupin, challenge accepted. As the soldiers drag him toward the transport bay, Lupin's mind races. Super soldier training. Alien war. This might just be his wildest heist yet, and for once, he's not even the one planning it. The doors slide shut behind him. Somewhere in the distance, a Spartan 2 candidate screams during augmentation prep. Lupin, cheerfully, well. Time to make history, or die spectacularly. Fade to black. Cue jazzy heist music. Part 1. Year 2549. Planet, Reach. UNSC Forward Operating Base, New Alexandria outskirts. Over a couple of years have passed by, since Lupin has also become part of the Spartan program will also enhance his body, which has also felt painful. Lupin felt every part of his body mutated thanks the augmentation, no longer the same scrawny man but now when were muscular and clean with a custom-made Spartan armor known as Hoplite Class Mjolnir. UNSC Training Facility, Reach. The clang of metal boots echoes through the hangar as a lone Spartan 3 in hoplite armor strides forward, his visor reflecting the harsh overhead lights. Gone is the scrawny thief in a torn jacket, now Lupin 3 moves with lethal precision, every step calibrated by enhanced musculature and neural implants. Lupin, over comms, whistling, man, I gotta say, these upgrades. Way better than Interpol's workout routines. His HUD flickers, motion sensors ping. 3 ODSTs lurk in the shadows of the training course, rifles raised. A friendly ambush. ODST-1 muttering, that's the guy who stole the colonel's sidearm during his August surgery, right? ODST-2 Brim, yep. And the mess hall's entire coffee supply last week. Lupin's helmet tilts, he heard that. Grinning beneath his visor, he taps a button on his wrist. The hangar lights cut out, plunging the space into darkness. Lupin, sing-song, now you see me. A grapple line whirs. A startled yelp. A metallic clang as an ODST's helmet kisses the floor. Lupin, popping up behind ODST-3, AAAAAND now you don't. His armor's strength augmented fist taps the ODST's shoulder, gentle by Spartan standards, but the man still faceplants. Lupin dusts off his hands. Lupin, cheerful, tag. You're all dead. The lights flicker back on. The ODSTs groan. Across the observation deck, the Oni officer from years prior watches, arms crossed, but there's no mistaking the smirk. Spartan, shrugging, with more firepower. He might not be a soldier, but you gotta admire his style. Oni officer, admire his snarkiness is more like it. I still owe him a favor, you know. Keeps me up at night, wondering what he's scheming. Spartan 2, chuckling, you made a deal with a thief. What did you expect? Lupin was given a code name known as just by his first name as his own Spartan alias, Lupin 003. Oni officer, dryly, desperation. But hey, he survived the augmentations too. That's more than a few Spartan IV rookies can say. Spartan 2, flatly, and we wonder why Oni hates us. Despite herself, the Oni officer grins. She watches Lupin help up the ODSTs, chatting up a storm. He glances up, locks eyes with her. An almost imperceptible smirk. Oni officer, sighing, goddamn it, I think he likes me. Spartan 2, deadpan, Stockholm Syndrome. You kidnapped him, after all. Oni officer, defensive, for training, not for ransom. There's a difference. Lupin 003, over PA system, voice echoing, oh come on, boss. Kidnapping implies I didn't enjoy the ride. His armored form suddenly materializes directly behind them via active camo, making both Spartans jump. He leans between them, arms casually draped over their shoulders. Lupin 003, mock whisper, though I do expect 5-star service on this kidnapping/resort experience. Where's my welcome drink? The Spartan 2 sighs while the Oni officer pinches her nose bridge. Nearby ODSTs facepalm collectively. ODST 3, muttering, sir, that's physically impossible, techie, just pull. Lupin 003, wiggling fingers, what can I say? Thieving skills scale wonderfully with Mjolnir. He vanishes again in a blur of motion, only for the training alarm to blare as the facility's armory reports a missing prototype grenade launcher. Oni officer, yelling at security cams, Lupin. Lupin 03's voice, from nowhere, relax. Just borrowing it for, counter-terrorism demonstration purposes. Oni officer, dryly, counterintelligence doesn't require stealing prototype weapons to do a demonstration. You know full well there's a dedicated testing range in the facility. And it's my ass that'll be on the line if you're caught with the experimental weapons off range. Lupin 003, scoffing, from somewhere nearby, voice echoing through the vicinity, spoilsport. Can't even appreciate my flair for drama. Vation skills. Something you're apparently lacking, given the number of stupid stunts you've pulled. Lupin 003, feigning offense, hand clutched to his chest, how dare you. My flair for theatrics keeps life entertaining, and keeps you on your toes. Oni officer, rolling her eyes, and a true thief has more self-preservation skills. Something you're apparently lacking, given the number of stupid stunts you've pulled. Lupin 003, feigning offense, hand clutched to his chest, how dare you. My flair for theatrics keeps life entertaining, and keeps you on your toes. Oni officer, flatly, it also keeps me up late at night, worrying about which insane plan of yours is going to backfire this time. I swear, dealing with you is worse than hurting a pack of hyperactive children. Lupin 003, booping her on the tip of the nose, grinning, clearly enjoying driving her up the wall, are you worried about lil old me? How sweet. Oni officer, slapping his hand away, cheeks faintly pink under her scowl, I'm worried about the property damage, you walking insurance liability. The Spartan 2 coughs loudly into his fist, clearly hiding laughter. Around them, several Marines pause mid-training to watch the spectacle. Lupin 003, gasping dramatically, et tu, brute. After all the lovely grenade launchers have borrowed, secured for our tactical demonstrations. A distant explosion rattles the hangar. Everyone freezes. Smoke curls over the horizon. Oni officer, voice dangerously calm. Lupin. Lupin 003, visibly sweating under his helmet, backing away slowly, That may have been the prototype I was testing, hypothetically, on that elite zealot we hypothetically spotted. The officer's eye twitches. The Spartan 2 facepalms. ODSTs dive for cover. Oni officer, inhaling sharply, pointing toward the smoke, go fix it before I throw you into the sun. Lupin 003, saluting, already sprinting, ma'am, yes ma'am. Also, love the new haircut. He vanishes in a blur of motion, leaving behind only chaos, a very exasperated Oni handler, and the distinct sound of a stolen Warthog's engine revving in the distance. Part 2. Year 2552. 3 years passed by on the planet of Reach. Everything went to hell itself, a full-on Covenant invasion has been happening. Lupin 003 for the first time, dealt with many things before this past life, but now this was actually a full-on war between an alien and a race of different kinds of alien races. See that they were known as the Covenant. Lupin 003 at the area where the Pillar of Autumn was ready to be launched into space. The sky burns crimson as Covenant cruisers carve glowing scars across Reach's atmosphere. The once pristine cityscape of New Alexandria now crumbles under plasma bombardment, glassing beams turning urban districts into molten slag. Lupin 003 crouches atop a crumbling skyscraper, his hoplite armor's sensor suite screaming with threat vectors. Lupin 003 muttering to himself, well, this escalated faster than one of Fujiko's shopping sprees. His motion tracker explodes with contacts, Ungoi grunts swarming the streets below, backed by a pair of hulling Jiralhanai warlords. The staccato gunfire of Marine resistance echoes through the canyons of collapsing buildings. Marine overcoms panicked Spartan. We've got civvies trapped in the metro station. Those brutes are static, oh god there. Before the transmission cuts out, Lupin's already in motion. His thrusters ignite as he leaps between falling debris, flipping mid-air to land boots first onto a phantom dropship's hull. The impact sends the craft spiraling into a Banshee squadron. Lupin 003, grinning under his helmet, heads up, fellas. Special delivery. He shoulder checks through the Phantom's hatch, coming face to face with a squad of startled elites. A beat of silence. Zealot, hissing, demon. Lupin 003 cocking his stolen grenade launcher, ah. So you've heard of me. The ensuing explosion paints the sky orange. Lupin free falls through the fireball, landing in a three-point stance before the barricaded metro entrance where wide-eyed civilians gape at him. Lupin 003, flipping up his visor, wink taxi service, courtesy of your friendly neighborhood thief turned super soldier. Lupin 003 also noticed another SPARTAN B312 one he overheard by some of the other Marines at ODST, and then as a group of Spartans known as Noble Team, and saw one of them being known as Noble 6. Noble 6 noticed the other Spartan when she was rather impressed in how much he was able to survive since the Covenant invasion and began running off. Lupin 003 watched as many of the civilians evacuated during transport were safely evacuated. However, there were only a few who were killed during the invasion, as Lupin did not say a word but stood there. Took off the helmet, his once calm face of a thief. Now having scars of a soldier with dissing bloodshed of not just a normal war between people but between humans and aliens on a colonized planet. The carrier's landing struts smash a building to rubble as Lupin 003 shields the boy, his hoplite armor denting from the debris. Brute Captain barking into an comms device, enraged, find the demon. Kill him. Lupin 003, eye twitching, muttering, great. I just moved up on someone's most wanted list. The evacuation transports roar into the smoke-choked sky, carrying the last survivors of New Alexandria. Lupin 003 stands motionless in the ruins, helmet tucked under his arm. The wind carries embers across his scarred face, no longer the carefree smirk of a master thief, but the hardened gaze of a soldier who's seen too much. Lupin 003 quietly. Hey, never thought I'd see the day where I played hero. Behind him, the distant thunder of glassing beams pulses like a dying heartbeat. Noble 6 approaches, her armor scorched but her posture unbroken. She stops beside him, following his gaze to the burning horizon. Noble 6, you did good back there. Saved more than most could've. Lupin 003 running a hand through his sweat-matted hair, not enough. A silence lingers. Somewhere in the wreckage, a child's toy, a little wooden car, lies half buried under debris. Lupin picks it up, brushes off the ash, and tucks it into his armor's storage compartment. Noble 6 noticing, souvenir. Lupin 003, grim smirk, reminder. The comms crackle, Cortana's voice cuts through, calm but urgent. Cortana, over comms, all Spartan units, rendezvous at the Pillar of Autumn. Evacuation protocol Zulu in effect. Repeat, this is not a drill. Noble 6 tenses. Lupin exhales slowly, sliding his helmet back on with a hiss of seals engaging. Lupin 003, stretching his neck, well, guess the party's movin' locations. You comin', partner? 6 nods. They sprint toward the distant silhouette of the Autumn, Covenant cruisers closing in like wolves. For the first time in his life of tricks and heists, Lupin isn't running from something, but toward it. Lupin 003, grinning under his helmet, eyes sharp with adrenaline, last chance to back out, partner. The last time I pulled off a heist, we ended up with a city on lockdown and a certain bank account significantly lighter. You sure you want to tag along? Noble 6 deadpan, I've seen your idea of a bank account. This'll be a cakewalk. The pillar of autumn looms overhead. Lupin cackles. Part 3. Year 2552. Location, dockyard. Far away stood Pillar of Autumn in the dockyard, ready to be launched out from reach to unknown. A few meters away from it, Lupin 003 was driving on a UNSC Mongoose in high speeds while also running over some Covenant ground troops. Lupin 003, see now I only have one option, is to get on board that ship and leave. Damn it, everything went straight to hell in a matter of seconds. Lupin 003 was on UNSC Mongoose with incredible speeds while dodging and weaving past every Covenant ground forces while making an incredible stunt jump with the Mongoose. Lupin 003, muttering under his breath, should have known things were going to go wrong when the Covenant showed up uninvited. The Covenant ground forces are relentless, their plasma rounds sparking against the Mongoose's hull. Lupin weaves through the barrage, the Mongoose's motor straining to keep up with his wild driving. Ahead, a brute chieftain roars and charges, the alien's gravity hammer raised for a devastating swing. Lupin 003, gasping, oh now that is not good. The chieftain's hammer falls, the impact buckling the Mongoose like a crushed soda can. Lupin's flung forward, slamming against the steering wheel. Pain flares as a rib breaks. The Mongoose skids dangerously close to the edge of the dock. Lupin 003, cursing, goddamn, that left a mark. All right, time to improvise. The Covenant soldiers charge, weapons blazing. Lupin leaps from the crippled Mongoose, snatching a grenade from his belt as he goes. With a wicked grin, he cooks it and then hurls it into the charging pack, the resulting blast sending bodies flying in all directions. Lupin 003, muttering to himself, I'll say this for you Covenant, you definitely make things interesting. Lupin 003, grinning grimly, now, I'm gonna have to get me one of those gravity hammer things. Bet I'd make a real handy getaway driver. The Mongoose's tires scream as Lupin 003 whips it into a vicious drift, kicking up sparks as he narrowly avoids a plasma mortar blast. Grunts squeal and dive out of the way, only for the Spartan to suddenly yank the handlebars upward, sending the bike airborne over a barricade of wrecked warthogs. Lupin 003, whooping, ha. Try stealing this move, Jigen. The Mongoose crashes back down in a shower of debris, its suspension groaning. Ahead, the Pillar of Autumn's launch sequence has begun, engines flaring as the massive ship trembles against its moorings. Lupin guns the throttle, weaving through a hail of needler shards. Marine, overcoms, panicked, Spartan. The umbilicals detaching in 30 seconds, if you're not aboard. Lupin 003, grinning, relax, pal. I've made tighter escapes blindfolded. A fuel rod cannon blast explodes just meters away, flipping the Mongoose onto its side in a screech of metal. Lupin rolls with the impact, springing to his feet and sprinting as the Autumn's boarding ramp begins retracting. Behind him, a chorus of enraged elite war cries echoes, but the thief-turned Spartan doesn't look back. As Lupin 003 stops the midway with the Mongoose seeing Noble 6. Not coming with him to the Pillar of Autumn. The Pillar of Autumn's engines scream as the umbilical detaches, steel cables snapping like whips. Lupin 003 skids to a halt, the Mongoose's smoking wreckage hissing behind him. His helmet pings, Noble 6 tag remains stationary, far behind the collapsing dockyard. Lupin 003, overcoms, voice strained, 6. Move your ass, the ramp's closing. Noble 6, calm, resigned, go. The word lands like a hammer. Lupin freezes. 6 of bio signs flicker, she's dug in, covering the Autumn's retreat. Covenant dropships swarm the sky like locusts. In the distance, a glassing beam lances down, turning the horizon white. Lupin 003, snarling, oh hell no. He takes 2 steps back toward the firestorm before the Autumn's thrusters kick in, nearly knocking him off his feet. The ramp is meters away now, grinding upward. A choice. A thief's choice. Marine yelling from the ramp, Spartan, jump now. Lupin's hands flex. A lifetime of running clashes with 3 years of forged loyalty. Then, Lupin 003, action over words, he moves. Not toward the ship, not toward 6. Instead, he sprints parallel to the ramp, boots pounding as he steals momentum from the Autumn's lift-off. At the last second, he leaps, not aboard, but onto the rising ramp's underside, mag-locking his gauntlets to the metal. The ship lurches skyward, Lupin dangling like a damn ornament as Covenant anti-air rounds streak past. Lupin 003, gritted teeth, sorry 6, but I hate loose ends. Noble 6 remains on reach and watches the Pillar of Autumn escape. 6 walks down the valley as the Autumn flies off into space. As Noble 6 takes out a DMR, the view pans down to the Spartan's legs and the destroyed cruiser. On board Pillar of Autumn, Lupin 003 didn't say a word but stood neutral and decided to go to the cryo area where another Spartan known as Spartan 117 was also on the left cryopod. Lupin 003 decided to go on the right cryopod to take a rest. An hour passed by. Into the Sol Star system. The Pillar of Autumn exits slipspace. The cruiser flies into view. Captain Jacob Keyes, Cortana, all I need to know is, did we lose them? Cortana, I think we both know the answer to that. The Pillar of Autumn slowly drifts towards the planet Threshold and the orbiting megastructure, Halo. Hope you all like this movie, like and subscribe to see more amazing crossover content in the future and have a great day.